My name is Unofficial. I'm the Education USA advisor located in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm happy to welcome you to this session. Today we'll be covering the GRE, and it's day one of a 3-day bootcamp to help you get prepared for the GRE exam. So to begin, let me share my screen and give you a bit of an introduction to Education USA. All right, so as I mentioned, today is day one of a GRE prep bootcamp brought to you by Education USA. So again, welcome to our audience, both here on Zoom and those joining us on Facebook Live. We're streaming to Education USA Costa Rica's Facebook page, so welcome. So what is Education USA? We are a global network of advising centers around the world, and we are part of the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. And what we do is bring you accurate and comprehensive information about accredited U.S. higher education institutions, and we guide you students through the process of studying in the United States by providing free access to introductory information. So in terms of some questions that we get quite often, here are some of those questions. And just to give you a little bit of background on Education USA, does Education USA have scholarships? No, we don't have scholarships, but we do guide students to finding scholarships at accredited institutions in the United States. Can we help you find short-term study abroad programs or internships? Yes, we can guide you in terms of finding programs that may be right for you. In terms of studying and improving opportunities for English language, yes, we can guide you again to the right intensive English program for you. And do we partner with or have agreements with specific US colleges and institutions? No, we don't, but an Education USA advisor can connect you with an accredited institution in the United States where you can find a program that's right for you. So how do we do this? Education USA guides you through the process of studying in the US through our 5 steps. The first step involves researching your options, which is finding the institution or institutions that may be right for you and are your best fit. Second step is financing your studies, and this involves looking for ways to reduce your educational costs while working on a budget. Step 3 would be completing your application for the institutions of your choice. Step 4 is applying for your student visa, and we can guide you through that process as best as possible. And step 5 would be preparing for your departure. Education USA advising centers near you provide pre-departure orientation sessions that can help you prepare for your departure to the United States. So without further ado, I'm happy to hand you over to our guest presenter, who is Sorani Marin. She is the Associate Director of TOEFL and GRE Client Relations for Costa Rica, Colombia, Honduras, Mexico, Panama, and Cuba. She is a psychologist and a master in education and diversity. So today, Sorani is going to give us an overview of the GRE exam, as well as go into the verbal reasoning part of the exam. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Sorani. I'll hand over to you now.
Thank you, Aphasia. Thank you very much. Okay, good afternoon, right? Yeah, it is afternoon still. My name is Sorani Marin. I'm the TOEFL IBT and GI director for Central America, Mexico, Colombia, and Cuba. Okay, so I'm here today to share very important information about GRE. One of the many reasons why you are like really, really lucky to be here to participate in this bootcamp is that, I mean, all of you know that TOEFL preparation courses are found pretty much everywhere. Okay, you go to that university, this institution, this binational center, and you're gonna find information like TOEFL prep courses in there, and that happens everywhere. Okay, but for GRE is different. For GRE, what you have to do is to go over all those like great materials that we have in our website online, and basically like prepare yourselves. I know there are some places, I just remembered one, okay? Our national center, I think it was in Tegucigalpa, okay? And they used to have, I don't know if they still have it, a GRE prep course, which was pretty famous in the city. But I mean, it's just, like one out of how many? I mean, it is really complicated to find GRE prep courses. This is gonna be, well, short, because we're gonna be working today 1 hour on the, I'm gonna give you an overview of the exam, and we're gonna cover the verbal reasoning section, which is the first section in the official exam today. Tomorrow we're gonna be talking about the quantitative measure of the exam, and then Thursday we're gonna be working on the analytical writing section of the exam. So it's gonna be short but complete, okay, very complete. And one of the very positive things is that you're going to have my information, okay, my email. So in case you need like any kind of support with materials or registration for the exam or creation with of the GRE account, of the ETS account, or you have difficulties like with your name or with score report, I mean, any kind of support that you may need. So here we have, EducationUSA advisors, and you have Sorani to give you all the possible support, okay, with the exam. Okay, so let's start. So not in this part, but in the second part of the exam, when we start talking about verbal reasoning, I'm gonna ask some of you to participate, okay? So get ready to take notes, and more than taking notes is like, like reading carefully. Okay, so this is the exam. So if you're here, it's because for sure you're planning on taking a GRE soon, or probably you've taken it before and you're gonna take it again to get like a better score. So the first thing that you need to know about TOEFL, about a GRE, I'm sorry, is that you need to have an acceptable and valid ID, okay, with your name, signature, and photograph to be admitted at this to the test center. So the same name that you use when you registered for GRE, okay, and I mean the name, the ID that you use to register for the GRE exam, that's the same ID that you're gonna use, that you're gonna bring on the day of the exam to the TOEFL site, or TOEFL and GRE sites, right? That's the same. So if you don't have your ID, the proctor and the administrator of GRE, I mean, they are not going to let you in. Okay, so you're not gonna be able to take your exam. So please be aware of this situation. It is important to keep in mind that before registering for the exam, you need to have like very clear information about the institutions where you would like to send your report, okay, your GRE report, score report. So that's very important, because at the end of the exam, I'm going to show you in a minute, you're going to see that that's exactly where you're going to be able to select, to include, right, to add the institutions where you would like to send your reports. So that's important. So that has to be clear. So as soon as you get to the TOEFL and GRE site, right, you're going to be informed about the policies, right, about all the restrictions that you're going to have at the site. So that's important, like cell phones. Like if you're going to have your cell phone with you on test day, you're going to have to leave it at a, they generally, these sites, they have lockers, etc. But you really don't take like any like cell phone with you on test day. Okay, even during the break, we're going to be talking about the breaks in a minute. So you cannot use your phone. Like, let's say you took it and you have it on the locker, right? You cannot take it again during the break and use it. That's prohibited, but proctors and administrators are going to be, you know, like giving you all that information. They're going to take a picture of you. They're going to take a picture of you. They are going, you're going to be wanted, of course, with a handheld metal detector, just to ensure that you're not carrying any electronic device. Okay, so that's part of the protocol of security of the exam. So that's fine, that's normal. You're going to receive a supply of scratch paper, and you're going to be able to replenish your supply, okay, of scratch paper if it is necessary, okay, as many times as you need scratch paper. Those notes that you take on that scratch paper, you're not going to be able to take them with you. Okay, so you're going to see that the administrator of the exam and the proctor, they are going to take those notes, okay, from you at the end of the exam. So for each test section, the first screen that is presented contains the general directions for that section. And then, but you're going to have, there is a button, the help button, that you're going to be able, you know, if you click on it, you're going to be able to see again, like if you don't have like really clear like what you don't know what to do on this section of the exam, you just click on help and they are going to guide you how to do it. So this is how the official exam looks like. So as you can see here, next to the calculator, next, back, help, right? There you're going to find the help button. So all these instructions are going to be there. Why is it important, Sorani? It is extremely important because the exam has like different formats of questions. Okay, so for each question, I mean, sometimes, for example, let's say there's a multiple choice question, but you want to choose just one answer. But there's another multiple choice question where you're going to choose one or more answers. So if you just, you know, you just forgot or you're too nervous, you know, because that happens a lot when you take the exam, you can click on help and they are going to guide you on what to do. So that's not going to be a problem. This is interesting, and I think it is kind of, you know, like it is friendly. You can skip questions that you consider like are complicated, that they are difficult, that are going to take you like more time to be, you know, like to be responded. So you can skip those questions and come back to them later, but that has to be done within the same section of the exam. That has to be clear, okay? So you can pretty much, you know, like navigate forward and backward freely, but again, within the same section. Once you have completed a section, you're not going to be able to go back. Like if this is the last part, the last question of the section, you continue with the next one, and then you say, "Oop, I forgot to work on that, on those two questions that were kind of difficult." You're not going to be able to go back. So you have to be careful. So again, here we have the help button. It allows you to review the directions, okay, for the questions, the section directions or general directions, testing tools such as how to navigate through the test, exit a section, etc. Okay, this is just one example, right, of one of the questions. This is for the verbal reasoning section of the exam. So as you can see here, we have next, back, help, mark, review, exit, and quit and save. Okay. Here we have another example, but we're going to work on these questions in a minute, okay? Because this is, in fact, the most important part of this presentation. The mark button allows you to mark questions that you would like to come back to later during the time provided to work on that section. So this is interesting because if you mark one of the questions and you are going to continue working on the next section of the exam and you marked that question, the same software is going to let you know that there's a question that you didn't responded, okay, that you didn't respond. So this is, I think this is really, this is going to be really useful for you guys. The review button is also great, and I'm going to show you a screenshot of how it looks like when you mark those questions. It allows you to view a list of the questions in the section, This list contains the question number in the section, and it is going to be marked as answered or incomplete, etc. So this is great. That is how the review bottom works. Look at this. Here we go. So this is another, like great help for you. So number 1 answered, 2 answered, etc. Not answered, so you can come back and save time, right? Not answered, etc. Okay, incomplete. For the quantitative reasoning section, you're gonna be given the possibility to use a calculator, a simple one, okay? So the bottom is there, calculator. So you just click on it and it is going to be there. So this is this is an example of one of the questions that you're gonna find in the quantitative section of the exam. There you have the calculator button, and then the calculator is going to be there. As you can see, it's a simple one, but trust me, it is really, really useful, okay? Really useful. Now, talking about the breaks, you're gonna have a 10-minute break after the 3rd section of the exam. You can go to the restroom, and stretch a little bit. You can go have something to drink, okay? But you will also have a 1-minute break between the other sections. I wouldn't recommend you guys to leave the room. Yes, I will recommend you just to, to relax in front of the computer. Ask the proctor or the administrator of the exam for additional scratch paper, right? To use this minute like wisely, but do not leave the laboratory, the site. That's my recommendation. Okay. Okay. So at the end, this is very important. At the end of your test session, okay, you're gonna have 2 options. So you finish, you say, okay, this is the last question. So you're done, and you're gonna see 2 different buttons there. One that says report, okay? And the other one says cancel. Don't look at cancel. You don't need to cancel your scores, okay? If you cancel your scores, you're not going to lose, like the money, right, of the exam, but you're gonna have to pay an additional fee to reinstate those scores, okay? And I don't want it to happen, all right? So don't cancel your scores, always report. When you click on report, you're gonna be able to see your unofficial scores for the verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning of the exam for those 2 sections, which is great because you're gonna have an idea about how your performance was. So please do not click on cancel. This is a very common mistake many candidates all around the world they make, not only with GRE, but with TOEFL, okay, with both exams. So please do not cancel your scores. You're not gonna have access to the non-official scores for analytical writing because it takes time. There's gonna be a human rater, okay, scoring your analytical writing section. So, and it takes time. This is why you're gonna receive your GRE scores, and that's between 10 to 15 business days, right? Right there, that's where you're gonna decide how to use your 4 free score reports. Okay, so you're gonna say, okay, I want my scores to be received at this and that university. Okay, so that's where you're gonna choose the university. That's why I was telling you at the beginning that it is very important to have that information like very clear on the day of the exam. If you don't do it right there, you're gonna be able to do it later, from your GRE account, but you're gonna have to pay. Okay, so the idea is not to pay. Okay, you can, yeah, it says here you always have the option to decide later, of course, but you're gonna have to pay. Okay, this is how it looks like when you click on finish, not finish, report, okay, you're gonna have access to your verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning scores, non-official scores. Okay, so that was the overview that I wanted to share with you, the GRE overview. And now, this is the first part of the exam. the verbal reasoning measure. Okay, so we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you an introduction of this section. Of course, we have to talk about the types of questions and strategies to get like a better score in this section. And we're going to cover, I'm going to share with you some general strategies. So this verbal reasoning measure, let me place this here. Okay, perfect. Assesses the ability to analyze and evaluate written material and synthesize information obtained from it, analyze relationships among component parts of sentences, and recognize relationships among words and concepts, okay? So this is the content, okay? So it contains two 30-minute sections with 20 questions in each section, okay? That's how it is. These are the types of questions. Reading comprehension sets, that's the first one. Text completion questions, second one, and sentence equivalence questions. And they are going to appear in the same order that I'm showing you right now. Now, these are the topics that you will find, okay? They try to, you know, like to balance the interests and backgrounds for candidates. So here we have natural sciences, social sciences, humanities, right? No specific knowledge of any subject is required, okay? All the information you need to answer the questions is going to be there. Okay, so this verbal reasoning, as well as the quantitative reasoning sections of the exam, both are computer, they are section level or computer adapted, that's the same, or section level adapted, okay? Meaning that the computer selects the second section of the measure based on the test taker's performance on the first section, okay? So remember when we talked last week, the last 2 weeks about TOEFL IBT is not computer adaptive, okay? So all the questions, I mean, they are just the same. They have the same level of difficulty. Okay, so in here it is different. These are the types of questions. So reading comprehension sets, text completion, and sentence equivalence. Okay, let's talk about the reading comprehension sets. So you're gonna find a passage. Sorani, are those passages as long as the ones that we found in the reading section of TOEFL IBT? No. They are shorter. They are really, really short, okay? Just one paragraph, one or, I mean, you're gonna see it. I'm gonna show you in a minute. So you're gonna have to read and understand what it is there. So you're gonna have to recognize, you know, like the purpose, main idea, minor ideas, assumptions that are there, opinions, inferences, the purpose, right? So all the details that are included in that passage. As I said before, you don't need to be experts on the field, okay, of knowledge. If it is on geology, you don't need to be experts on geology. All the information that you need to answer the question is going to be there. And here we have the different formats. This is what I was mentioning at the beginning, okay? Here we have the formats. So we have multiple choice, selecting just one answer, okay? Multiple choice, selecting one or more answers. And then selecting passage. So you're gonna choose the sentence in the passage that fits a given description, okay? Those are the formats. So this is an example of the first format of the first type of question. So here we have multiple choice, selecting one answer choice. So as you can see, yes, I was right. It is a very short passage, really, really short, okay? Reviving the practice of using elements of popular music. So this is about music. Here again, as I said before, you're gonna have the timer in there. So you're gonna have access to, you know, to control it, not to control it, but to see how you're using the time, right? And answer, you know, like correctly and in the time given. And here we have the question. So this is friendly. So it is not that you have to read and then memorize all the information that is in there and then go over the questions and just try to remember. No, look at this. You're gonna have the passage in there and then the questions right there. So this is great. It says the passage addresses which of the following issues related to Glass's use of popular elements in his classical compositions. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different options. So what I want to do right now, okay, is to give you, I think, 2 minutes. That's more than enough because this is easy. This is short and it is simple. You're gonna read and you're gonna immediately identify the correct answer, I'm sure. So I want you to read, and I would like you guys to raise your hands. Okay, I need one volunteer. Now, please raise your hands. Okay, let me see. You're gonna read and you're gonna give me just the option. Remember, this is multiple choice, selecting just one answer choice, just one. While you, let me see if I see any volunteers. I just need one volunteer, okay? Don't be afraid. This is simple, and I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to go over the passage and then check what the correct answer is. I was going to tell you something else that I just forgot. Yes, one tip, important. Sorani, is it better to go over the passage and then read the questions? Or is it better to read the question and then go over? I would go for the second one. I always do it because I think it helps me use time, you know, like in a better way. I see Pablo here. So what I always do, I have taken GRE 3 times already. So what I always do, chicos, is to, you know, to read carefully, like the question, like the options, and then I read the passage. Okay, Pablo, thank you. Thank you. Pablo, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. Let me see my timer. It is here. So please read. Not allowed. Okay, not necessary. 2 minutes. Okay, I have it here. You have 1 minute, Pablo, but whenever you have the answer, you can give me an option. Thirty seconds. Ten seconds. Okay. Okay. Time is gone. Pablo, what's your option? Are you there? Okay. So if Pablo doesn't give us any option, I'm gonna give you the answer. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, Pablo is telling me that his internet is unstable. So Paulo, can you give me an option using the chat, like right here? Okay. All right. Okay, so the option here, the correct option is the last one. So probably you were working on the exercise, okay? And I'm sure many of you chose this option, where it has caused certain of classes works to be derivative in quality, okay? So this is how you do it. So remember, this is multiple choice, selecting just one answer choice, okay? Now, remember that for the reading comprehension sets, you're gonna find 3 different formats, okay? 3 different formats. So this is the second format. Same passage, Sorani, doesn't change. Is it going to be the same? Yes, the same passage. You're already familiar with the passage. You're not gonna have to, like to spend too much time going over the passage again, because you're already familiar with the information there. And here it says that this is multiple choice, select one or more answer choices. The passage suggests that glasses work displays which of the following qualities. And here again in this chart above, it says consider each of the choices separately and select all that apply. So here we have option A return to the use of popular music in classical compositions, then an attempt to elevate rock music to an artistic status, more closely approximating that of classical music. And last one, a long-standing tendency to incorporate elements from 2 apparently disparate musical styles, okay? So any option, you can use the chat if you want to. You can tell me, Sorani, option, first option and third option, first option and second option. No? No options in here? Okay. Jaden, is how you pronounce your name? I think that's how you pronounce your name.
I think you can select more than one, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I think I was seeing 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Let's see. We're gonna check. We're gonna check. Thank you for participating. Thank you very much. Okay. Jaden, I'm gonna put your name in here. Okay. Here we have in my chat, I see some other options. Okay, some of you chose just one. Remember that this is something that you have to be very careful with. For this format of the exam, remember you have to choose more than one, okay? No, just one. That's gonna be a mistake. That's why it is important, if you're not sure, to click on the help button, and they are going to let you know if you have to just choose one or two or more than one option. Okay, so here some of you chose just one, but here we have Paulo said 1 and 2, 1 and 3, I'm sorry. Fernando 1 and 2. Okay, let's see. 1 and 3. Okay, so I think Paulo was correct. Yeah, correct, Paulo. 1 and 3. So these are the 2 options, the 2 correct options for this type of question. And now here we have the last format for the reading comprehension sets. Remember that this is going to be the first section of GRE, and this is going to be the very first part of the exam, the reading comprehension sets. Again, the same passage. You're already familiar with the information, and they are going to say, this is the question, this is the selecting passage. Select the sentence that distinguishes 2 ways of integrating rock and classical music. So you go over, you're already familiar with the passage, but you read it the last time, looking for the, okay, 2 ways, distinguishes 2 ways of integrating rock and classical music. So you start reading carefully, okay. Okay. And this is the correct option. His music is not a version of popular music packaged to attract classical listeners. It is high art for listeners steeped in rock rather than the classics, okay? So these are the 3 formats for the reading comprehension sets, okay? So not that complicated, again, because you're not gonna have like 3 different passages and then no, it is just the same passage and then the 3 formats for that same passage. Okay, so here we have some strategies for this part of this section, verbal reasoning. You should read the passage. That's what I always do, and get a sense of its overall meaning, okay? And purpose. No, I'm sorry. What I always do is to go over the questions, okay? Use a scratch paper to make notes, but many candidates, what they do first is to have, you know, like an idea, and that works better for them. In my case, I need to read the question first. You can use a scratch paper to make notes, but many of us, we don't need it. Like for this section, I don't really need to take any notes. Keywords and phrases, right? That's important. You know, you can, if you don't want to take notes, you just can read and try to, you know, like to remember those keywords and phrases that are there in the passage and try to clarify what is being expressed. That's going to help you a lot to identify what the main idea of the passage is, okay? Note which claims the author makes and which are made by others and merely described by the author. Similarly, note whether the author is hypothesizing, that's important, something, or maintaining it with some certainty. So you should remember that all the necessary information to answer each question is there, okay? And this is something that I look at this. When practicing to take the test takers should try to determine which method is best for them. That's what I was telling you. In my case, I prefer to go over the question and then read the passage, okay? But that's me. So you can, you know, you can skim the passage first, look at each question before reading the passage, read the passage, right? That's fine. So important, remember the help button is there. So make sure you understand what the question is asking. If you're not sure about what the question is asking, please click on that button and they are going to provide you with all the possible support, okay? Answer strictly on the basis of what the passage says, okay? So your knowledge, okay, that's, you know, that's not really necessary. Like if they are asking you something about that passage, the answer is going to be there, okay? The information, you need to answer the question. Do not select an answer only because you consider this is the true one. You say, no, but the true, the correct answer is this one because I know. No, stick to the information, okay, presented on the passage. And do not select an answer that is partially correct. Has to be 100% correct. Okay. Then we have the second type of question. This is the text completion question. So you're going to find one or more sentences with 1 to 3 blanks. So you're going to see that the answer choices are, you know, like alternatives for filling those blanks. Those answer choices are independent. That's important. They are not necessarily like synonyms, right? So you're going to have to grasp the meaning of the sentence, and by analyzing the relationships among their parts, select the most appropriate word or words to fill in the blanks. So this is an example. Look at this. So it says here in the instruction, for each blank, select one entry from the corresponding column of choices. Fill all blanks in the way that best completes the text. Okay. Here we have the passage. What I always do in these cases is to read the passage first. Okay, that's what I always do. So I read, I understand what, you know, like the information that is missing there. I understand the topic of the paragraph in this case, right? And then I check on blank number 1. What are the options for blank number 1? Overshadowed, invalidated, illuminated. For blank number 2, enhance, obscure, and underscore. And then number 3, plausibility of our hypothesis, certainty of our entitlement, and superficiality of our theories. So I'm going to give you 1 minute because vocabulary is not really like complicated in here. So please read the passage and then give me options. You can use the chat box. Okay, 1 minute and you can start now. Okay. You have 20 seconds. You can start typing your responses, your possibilities. Okay, I already have some in here. Okay, so here I have for the first one, overshadowed. That's what Pablo says, overshadowed, and then second one, obscure, and then overshadow, obscure, and plausibility of our hypothesis. Okay, here we have another option, invalidated, enhance, superficiality. Okay, thank you guys for your participation. Okay, so here we have the correct ones. Overshadowed, obscure, and superficiality of our theories. Okay, those are the three correct options. I don't think, okay, based on my experience, I don't think this exercise is complicated. What you need to do is to prepare for GRE, for this section of the exam, using the materials that you're gonna find. I'm gonna share the link at the end of this presentation. The materials that we have in our website, most of them are for free, most of them. You can also email me and I can share with you a couple of additional materials that I have that you're not gonna find them there. Because you know, the vocabulary is just, it's not complicated, but is different from what, you know, like we use, most of us, we use like every day. Okay, so it is just a matter of reading a little bit, familiarizing a little bit with different subjects, right? And that's all. So this is the second type of question. So here we have some strategies. Yes, read the passage to get an overall sense of it. I agree with this one. I agree. Identify words or phrases that seem particularly significant. Okay, fill in the blanks with their own words and find answer choices that match. That's another excellent way to practice. Focus on whichever blank seems easiest to complete. This is because of time. Remember that GRE is timed as well. And you're going to have access to the time in there. After making your answer choices, read again the whole passage to make sure that the passage makes sense. Okay, so there we have some strategies. So here we have sentence equivalence questions. This is the third type of question for these reading comprehension sets. So you're gonna find just a sentence. So here it is just a sentence, not a passage. Someone was asking me in the chat box, Sorani, are these passages in GRE, the GRE passages, more complicated than the ones in TOEFL that we find in TOEFL IBT? Personally, I would say no, because I'm familiar with both exams. I have taken both exams, you know, like many times. And I do think that GRE passages are easier. That's my opinion, okay? Not necessarily because they are shorter, okay? I just think they are easier. And something else is that as I have taken TOEFL prep courses, you know, like many times, I was a TOEFL IBT facilitator in the past at 2 universities. So I'm very familiar with the exam. So I think preparing for the reading section of TOEFL IBT gives you some, you know, like skills on how to do well with the passages that we're gonna find here in the GRE section. Okay, that's what I think. So here, this is the last type of question, sentence equivalence questions. So you're gonna find a sentence, just a sentence with 1 blank and 6 answer choices. So you're gonna find 2 answer choices that complete that sentence coherently, okay? And also produces sentences alike in meaning. So here we have the sentence. I think 1 minute you can type your answers, your options, okay, in the chat box. Select the 2 answer choices that, if used to complete the sentence, fit the meaning of the sentence as a whole and produce completed sentences that are alike in meaning. So here we have the sentence, here we have 6 different options, okay? You're gonna say, Sorani, those words, I'm sure some of those words are new for you. Okay, give me options, guys, give me options. But again, I just think it's just a matter of preparing for the exam with the materials that we have in our website. Okay, let's see your options. Okay, here we have deflect and shrug off. Here we have, okay, conjure up, shrug off. Remember, we need to deflect and shrug off, deflect. Okay, most of you, you're saying deflect and shrug off. Okay, let's see. Deflect and shrug off. So it is simple. So again, yeah, like shrug off, probably, you know, like this is not a word that we use every day. But again, you will see that if you start preparing with the materials that we have in our website, you're gonna see that all this vocabulary is going to be there. Okay. Also, when you register, when you create your GRE account, you register for the exam, one of the things that they are going to give you guys for free is the GRE official guide, okay, for you to prepare. And additionally, they are going to provide you guys with, the name is a Power Prep, okay, is the Power Prep. So it is a GRE, it is like a kind of mock test, okay, and you can use it to, you know, like to prepare, to become a little bit more familiar with the types of questions with the exam. And something that I found in the last exam, the last GRE I took 2 years ago, was that I took the Power Prep before the exam, like 3 weeks before taking GRE. And some of the questions that I found in that Power Prep were there. so that's also motivation for you to use the Power Prep. Okay. Okay, so this is sentence equivalence. Okay, so here we have some strategies. Read the sentence to get an overall sense of it. I think that's important. Identify words or phrases that seem particularly significant. Try to fill in the blank with your own words and find answer choices that match. Okay, so you can, you know, like really understand what you need to choose for those 2 blanks. For that blank. Here is just one. And then after making your answer choices, read again and see if the whole sentence makes sense. Okay. Here they are also sharing some, you know, like general strategies. It is important to become familiar with the format of these questions and the directions beforehand. That's why I'm inviting you. I'm going to share the link for you guys to download GRE materials. And again, remember that you can email me and I can share some materials that you won't find in there. Also, okay, try to answer, you know, like all the questions. I wouldn't say try. Yeah, I can't change this because this is the official presentation, but no, answer all the questions, please. Okay. Read each question carefully. Okay. If you have doubts, remember, help button is there. Make notes if necessary. Read all the answer choices before answering. Use knowledge you have, you know, like to figure out answers to unfamiliar questions. Please be careful with time. You know, like I think the, you know, preparing for the exam is going to give you, you know, like clues on how to use time wisely. Okay, and use the review screen wisely, right? So if you, again, if you see like this question is very complicated, it's very difficult, don't waste time, you know, like reading and trying to, no, skip it. Yes, remember, within the same section of the exam. So skip it, continue with the next one, and then mark it. Mark at that question, and then come back. Now, when you're going to jump to the other section, remember, the software is going to let you know that you have a couple of questions, non-answered questions in there. So that's important. Okay, materials. Okay, materials. I'm gonna share. Number one, I'm gonna share the link right now. Give me 1 second. Okay. This link, I think, is extremely important and very useful. You're going to find great materials in there. Here. You're going to find sample questions for verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, analytical writing in there. Here we go. Chat, everybody. And here you have the link. Okay. There you have the link. Tomorrow I'm going to give you additional links so you can download materials to prepare for the quantitative reasoning section of the exam. Okay. Okay, that's all the information that I wanted to share with you guys about the first part of the exam. This is verbal reasoning. All those questions that you just saw, those are the questions that you're going to find in the first section of the GRE. Okay, anything different from this? Okay. So that's it. Okay. Do you have any question?
Hi, Sorani. So I did get a few questions while you did the
Okay.
presentation. So I'll get to those now. And of course, students, we encourage you, go ahead and send any questions while we have just a few minutes left. So this question is just more about general exam and not so much in detail the exam itself, but how can students find test centers for the GRE?
Okay, we have all the TOEFL sites, aphasia, all the TOEFL sites are allowed to administer GRE, all of them, okay? The fact is that, you know, like TOEFL dates are more frequent everywhere. Like you can take TOEFL IBT pretty much every Wednesday, every Friday, every Saturday. For GRE is different. But you can always call the site, the TOEFL site, and you're going to see that all those sites, they are going to tell you, yes, we do administer GRE in here. Give us your name, okay? And the same sites, they make the request, okay? And they open dates for you. That's one way. But another way is my email. I'm going to give you my email. So if you feel like you need to take GRE, but you can't find any place in your city to take it, just contact me and I'm gonna help you find a site for you. That's one way. But you know, the idea, chicos, is that you don't, you know, pay, you know, the exam, you know, it has a cost, right? And additionally, you're gonna have to pay for a hotel, for tickets, for etc. So I don't want you to do that, okay? So please email me and I'm gonna help you finding a TOEFL site. Also with Aphasia, with Margaret, with Maria Jose, with Education USA. If you contact them and they know that there are 2 or just 1 candidate, okay, that needs to take GRE, but it is just impossible to find it in their city, I'm gonna help all these, you know, like all of you guys, Education USA advisors, okay? But also remember, another option of Aphasia is that all candidates can take a GRE at home. So if they feel like, okay, now I'm gonna feel much more comfortable taking GRE at home, that's another possibility. It's just the same exam. Listo.
Great. Thank you so much, Sorani. Another question, I know you mentioned where you could access practice tests, but for some students who may have missed it, could you just go over that again?
Yes, absolutely. Here I just shared a link with you where you're gonna find materials for you to prepare. But additionally, remember when you create your GRE account and you register for the exam, you're gonna be given a power prep. Let me see something because yes, it is a power prep. Power prep, and I'm checking right now if you need to access power prep. Yes, I just saw they are for free, and let me look, if you click on the link that I just shared with you, chicos, you're gonna find all these materials. Some of them are not for free, okay? But many of them, look at this one, Power Prep Test Preview Tool. This is for free, this is for free, okay? Again, some of them they do have, but here you're gonna find a way to familiarize with the exam a little bit, okay?
Okay, thanks so much for that, Sorani. And in terms of paying, so a student asked a question, I'm hoping that I understood exactly what they meant, but they've asked, how much do we have to pay if we don't give the names of universities on the day that we present for the exam?
It varies from country to country, but the cost is like, you know, like $20 per score report. But I think it varies from country to country, yeah.
Okay, and some students are not familiar with the TOEFL and the GRE. So the question did come up about the difference between the TOEFL and the GRE.
Yes, those are two different exams. So one example, a lawyer, yes, a lawyer, if you're a lawyer and you want to study in the United States, the universities are going to ask you guys, remember that all universities in the United States, they accept TOEFL, IBT, and GRE, okay? All of them, 100% of the universities. So why are they going to ask Ms. Sorani for both exams? Simple, because one of them, TOEFL, IBT, is going to let the university know that you speak English, that you're gonna be able to survive in an academic setting, okay? And the second one, GRE, it is in English, but it is not assessing your level of English. It is assessing 3 different skills, right? Knowledge, verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, and analytical writing, okay? So that's basically the difference.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And the final question that came from a couple students, well, they've asked about how much time do you think a student needs to prepare for the exam?
It all depends. For GRE, because I assume if a person is going to take GRE, the person already has like a pretty good level of English, right? I would go for 6 months, but that's, you know, that's my opinion. That's what some of you would say, no, Sorani, I mean, I'm gonna be able to do it in 3 months and that's fine. Okay, but if you have difficulties with English, okay, it depends. If you are, let's say, a B1, I would go for at least 1 year or more. Number one, because you need to improve your level of English, and number two, because you need to familiarize with GRE and the vocabulary, yeah, of GRE is different. Some of you, you're very good at math, right? But when it comes to work on operations, on exercises, mathematical operations, probably you're not familiar with the vocabulary in English, okay? So it takes time to familiarize with those concepts. That's it.
Yeah, those are definitely some good tips and things that we should consider. And a final question in the interest of time, because we're just coming up on an hour for this session, is how long before taking the test do you need to register?
You know, like if you're gonna take your exam in December and you're gonna register today, you're gonna find sites that already have open dates, available dates in December, right? So I would go for 1 year, right? 6 months. No, not 1 year, because they always give the possibility to the TOEFL sites. Yeah, 6 months. 6 months is gonna be okay. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Sorani. I think you've given some really comprehensive information, and I think the participants are a lot more prepared now in terms of what to look out for in the verbal reasoning, an overview of the exam, and a few of the strategies. And I hope that everyone who has been here today will join us again tomorrow at the same time for part 2 of this 3-day session of the GRE Bootcamp. Yes, Sorani?
One last thing. Thank you, Feisha. Tomorrow, this is the invitation. We're going to talk about the quantitative reasoning section of the exam. And I'm going to devote 10 minutes tomorrow to give you some information about how to take GRE at home, because I just saw like a couple of questions. People are asking about, how to take it at home. Okay, so I'm going to just devote 10 minutes of the section tomorrow to talk about home edition, GRE home edition, okay? And be ready to participate tomorrow because this is about math. So this is the easiest part of the exam.
Great. Thank you so much, Sorani, for that information. So see you all tomorrow and do enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Okay.
Bye.
Ciao, Feisha.